This conference will now be recorded.
Fine. So today we are going to discuss about EC2. It's a Elastic Compute Cloud. This is the first service which we are starting with AWS. So can you see my screen, everyone online?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ram.
Yes.
Yes, Ram. Yes.
Elastic Compute Cloud or else Elastic Cloud Compute, you can say anyway. So Elastic Compute Cloud or Elastic Cloud Compute. Yeah. Fine. So basically, what is Elastic? What is Elastic in general?
Property to stretch.
Stretch. Yeah.
Which can
Expandable.
expand easily.
Right? Yeah. Stretch, expandable, whatever. Right? So here, whatever services we are using in cloud, those are expandable, those are stretchable, right? So what is compute?
Calculating.
Connecting
You,
servers.
no. So if you want to buy any lab, for example, okay, so we go to shop and we'll check what we consider to buy a laptop configuration, right? What is the RAM? What is the processing speed? What is the hard drive, right? So we'll check configuration. So compute means configuration, okay, fine. Yeah, this configuration is, these compute resources are elastic. These compute resources are available in cloud. Okay, so that is nothing but EC2. Elastic Compute Cloud means, so compute configuration is stretchable, which is available in cloud compute, right? So basically, Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud is a virtual server. Okay, so in AWS, it is a virtual server that provides secure computing capacity in the cloud, right? Fine. So let us start the console. Yeah, so if you want to create any instance, so in cloud we will call it as instance. We don't call it as server, so we'll call it as instance. Okay. For example, if you want to, yeah, if you want to create any instance or any storage, first we need to go to services. Click on services. So here we have compute. So in this compute we have EC2. Click on EC2. Okay, so click on running instances here. Now click on launch instance. If you want to launch any instance from here, you need to launch the instance. Click on launch instance. So before creating instance here, so we need to check whether where I am creating. So where I want to create that region, we need to check. So here by default it is taken Ohio, US East 2 region. So this is default region, right? So if you want to change any region, you can change Asia Pacific Mumbai, or else Europe region, or else North America, or else any region. So this region will be decided by client. We don't decide this region. Okay. So client deciding factors. Yeah, we can make it as a default region. By default, it will show you. You can change the region. Fine. So by default, it is taking Ohio region. So I keep as it is. So now, if I want to create any instance, okay. So here in Quick Start, we have different AMIs. So these are the AMIs. AMI means it is a Amazon Machine Images. These are like predefined images. So in VMware, normally we'll call it as templates, right? Template means it is a master copy. Master copy means, for example, we have one server. So in that server, all the applications hosted, all the configuration hosted. So if you want to convert into template, we can convert that as a master copy. So creating template. Using the template, we can create a number of servers with the same set of softwares, same set of configurations, right? The same way here also, AWS is providing some AMIs, Amazon Machine Images. These are images which in this image, some packages will be available, right? So this is Amazon Linux 2 AMI. This is Mac OS. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Windows, Debian version. So like this, different versions are available. So these are all predefined images. So for example, if you want to create any instance using this AMI, we need to create the instance. We can create, right? So whenever we create instance, so along with this instance, this package, whatever packages are available inside of this image, will get their package, right? Yeah. And one more thing here. So while creating instance, we need to check whether it is free tier eligible or not. So here it is showing free tier eligible. So this server is not showing any free tier eligible. So if you use this server, for example, there is no free tier. So if you create this one, billing will be generated. Bill will be generated. So in our free tier console, we need to use free tier eligible instances only. Okay. So and one more important thing here. So here we have different flavors, but there is no CentOS. So all the flavors available here, but there is no CentOS version. So if you are not finding any version flavor, so we need to go to AWS Marketplace. So click on AWS Marketplace and you can search here CentOS. So these are the CentOS flavors, different versions, CentOS 7, 6, 8, right? So like this, you can search from the marketplace, any flavor. For example, if you want to search any Windows flavors, Windows also different flavors available here. So 2019 base, 2016 base, 2012 R2, okay, like this. Whatever flavor you want to get from the marketplace, you can go to marketplace and you can search. Fine. So these are the quick start, right? So go back here. Yeah. So these are the predefined AMIs. We have 43 AMIs here. Okay. So now, so as per your requirement, you can select 64-bit or 64-bit x86 or 64-bit ARM. Okay. So for example, I want to create this instance, Amazon Linux 2 AMI instance. Okay. So this is one of the flavor. This is Red Hat family version. So we have different versions in Linux, Red Hat family and Debian family. So that we will discuss in Linux sessions. Okay, fine. So now I want to create this one, for which I am selecting this instance. Click on this select. So when I select this, it is showing some family. Family means so T2 micro, T2 family, T3 family. Okay, so T3A, T3B, like that. Different families it is showing. T4G. Based on this family, we'll get configuration, right? So here next one is type T2 micro, T2 nano, T2 medium, T2 small, T2 large, T2 X large. So by default, it is selecting T2 micro, which is free tier eligible. So if you select T2 medium, so bill will be generated. Whatever free services they are providing, that we need to use in our console. Okay, if you select T2 micro, you will get one virtual CPU, 1 GB RAM. If you select T2 medium, two virtual CPUs, 4 GB RAM, right? So for our requirement, so for our applications, for our practice, it is enough for you. T2 micro is enough for you, 1 GB RAM and one virtual CPU. Okay, we can select this. And storage type, they are providing EBS volumes, elastic block storage. Okay, and low to moderate network configuration is low to moderate. It will support IPv6 also. Currently we are using IPv4, right? So it will support IPv6 also. Next one, next, click on next here, configure instance details. Yeah, number of instances, how many instances you require. So you need to select here. So for example, you want to create 100 instances. You need to give 100. So if you want to create 10 instances, you can give 10. For now, we can take one instance here. Okay. Next one is here launch auto scaling group. This we will discuss later. Okay, auto scaling will take 1 hour session. So this is a different other service. So we'll discuss this later. And next one is purchasing option. What is this? So when you select this purchasing option, it will show some basic pricing, current pricing. So they are showing some basic pricing, but they are not charging anything, right? So this is not useful in real time. Till now, we are not using this option in real time. So why we are not using? So for example, this is our cloud data center, AWS data center, for example. Okay, in AWS data center, till now we are utilizing 30 to 40% of the resources. 30 to 40% of the resources we are using. For example, this is AWS data center. In data center, we are using 30 to 40% of the servers. Okay, so still we are in the starting stage. Maybe after 1 year, 2 year, we'll be utilizing more, maybe 90% something, right? Currently, we are in starting stage. So once we reaches to 90% utilization, 90% utilization means, for example, if you have 1,000 servers in data center, so we are using 900 servers. Okay, what will happen here? This pricing will be changed. This is basic pricing. They are not charging anything. They are giving still free servers, free network, free storage. But once it is reaches to 90%, this pricing will not be available. This pricing will be changed. It will be more. Okay, so this is all about Ola Uber concept. Ola Uber and starting. Initially, they gave some offers, right? 50% off, 30% off. Once they establish, what will happen? What is happening now? In peak time, if you book the cab, what will happen? They are charging double, right? The same way AWS also doing business, right? So initially they are giving some free servers, free network, free storage. So maybe going forward, after 1 year, 2 years, these free servers will not be available. These free servers, free network, free tier accounts will not be available. Okay, fine. Yeah, so this is purchasing option. It is not useful in real time till now. So maybe after 1 year, 2 years, we'll use this. These are the availability zones. Yesterday we discussed, right? 2A availability zone, 2B availability zone, 2C availability. Fine. Next one is networking concept, network. So this is VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. So where we create our network. In AWS availability zones, we create VPC. So this VPC we'll discuss later. When we talk about networking, we'll go deep dive. So for now, how to create server, we'll try to understand. Okay, network, subnet, auto assign public IP, placement groups, capacity reservation, domain join. So this will discuss later. Okay. Next one is IAM role. What is IAM? This is also one service, 1 hour session. Okay. It is a identity and access management. So in real time, normally we don't log in with root user. We always use IAM user. When we join into the project, we'll get some ID, login ID. That is IAM login ID. Using that, we'll log in our consoles. Okay. So this also we discuss later when we talk about IAM. We'll go deep dive. So next one is shutdown behavior. CPU options also we'll see later. Shutdown behavior means, so when we, by default it is showing stop. So if you select terminate, what will happen here? When you shut down your instance, the server will be terminated. So by default it is selected stop, right? So if you select stop here, when you complete your practice, if you stop your server, stop means shut down. Terminate means delete, right? So when you stop your server, it will be stop. Or else if you select terminate, when you stop your server, it will be terminated. Okay. So, but why they gave this option, terminate option? Where we use this? So normally in projects, some trainings will be happened. Trainings, 1 day training, 2 day trainings will be happened. By the time, some test labs will be created. They will create some test labs, right? So while completing the session, whenever they complete the session, simply they will shut down the server. They will go. Okay. So by the time, automatically it will terminate for 1 day session, right? 1 day or half day sessions, 4-hour sessions will be there, for which we create some test servers. So by the time when they terminate, it is fine. When they stop the server, it will be terminated. So otherwise, what will happen? If it is not terminated, bill will be generated. That is why for test labs purpose, we use this terminate option. So normally we keep this stop here. By default, it is selected. The same thing, we need to keep this. Okay. And yeah. So instance means it is a server. Instance is a server. Okay. In AWS Cloud, we'll call it as instance. In GCP, Google Cloud, will call it as VM. VM instance. In Azure, we'll call it as VM. Okay. It is a server. Someone is asking this question. Yeah. Fine. Next one is here. Fine. So this also we'll discuss later. Next one is enable termination protection. So in cloud, what will happen whenever you want to create any servers? By single clicks, we can create a number of servers. Okay, in cloud. The same way, by single clicks, we can terminate a number of servers. Okay, so if you enable this option, stop. Okay, Hibernate, right? Enable termination protection. Hibernate we'll see later. Enable termination protection. When you select this option, what will happen? So accidentally, if you delete the server, it will not delete. It will give you some pop-ups. Okay, so it will give you some warnings. So in real time, we'll select this always. So enable termination protection. Okay. So next, monitoring. Monitoring means it is a cloud watch. Your server monitoring, instance monitoring, service monitoring, right? But this is not free of cost. This is additional charges apply. When you select this monitoring, it is additional charges. Next one is tenancy. What is tenancy? So here we have 3 options: shared and dedicated host. What is shared? What is dedicated? What is dedicated host? For example, this is our cloud data center. So in this cloud data center, whenever we create any instance, so the server will be, instance will be created in shared area, shared place. This is shared area. For example, this is one data center, this room. So whenever we install any server, anywhere we can insert the server and we can install, right? The same way, cloud data center, whenever we create any server, it will be created any place, any host, any racks. Okay. So when you select dedicated here, second option is dedicated. This is shared. This is dedicated. When you select dedicated, what will happen? You will get some dedicated space like this. So normally what will happen? So in our nations, we'll have some ODCs. ODC means restricted area. Others cannot enter into the ODCs.
Okay, only that particular project team can enter into the ODC. The same way here also, cloud also providing some dedicated space. In that dedicated space, our servers will be created. Okay, so that is more restricted area. So normally in data center, physical data center, for example, we have physical data center. What will happen? Network team will enter into the data center, server engineers will enter into the data center, electricians, AC electricians will enter into the data center, right? So everyone will enter into the data center. So, but here when we create ODC in our physical data centers, okay, no one will enter. The same way, cloud data center also, so they give some dedicated space, but it is not free of cost. It is double the charges. So normally, banking domains, insurance domains, they will take this dedicated space, tenancy. So, for example, so in Hyderabad, we have municipal taps, right? Water taps. So if they configure the water tap in street, everyone can access, right? If they configure inside of your home, that is for you only, dedicated for you only, right? The same way here, if we host any server in shared area, everyone can access that. Access means they cannot log in, but they can check that, okay? But if you select dedicated space, no one can check, no one can see that, because banking domains, what they will do, they will maintain some critical databases, right? That is why they use this dedicated space. Okay, and the next one is third one, dedicated host. Dedicated host means, so in data center we'll have different hosts, dedicated host. Inside of the dedicated host, we'll configure our servers. Okay, fine. So this is tenancy. Yeah, remaining things we'll see later. So when we talk about VPC, when we talk about IAM, when we talk about auto scaling, we'll check remaining things. Next one is click on next here. Click on next, add storage. Yeah, so this is storage. So with our instance, when we create instance, so we'll get 8 GB storage here. Okay, so if you want to increase the storage 100 GB, you can increase, right? So here volume type root they are giving, device name /dev/xvda they are giving. By default, one snapshot will be created, and here by default they are giving 8 GB storage. So volume type they are giving SSD drives, solid state drives. So in our laptop, current latest laptops we are using the SSD drives, so solid state drives. So here volume speed, hard drive speed is 300 by 3000. IOPS means input output per second, our volume speed. Okay, so next one is delete on termination. This is very important. Delete on termination, by default it is checked. So if you check here, what will happen? For example, so we create one instance and hand over to project team. Normally in real time we do like that. So we create one instance and we'll give to project teams, right? So they will start the development. Once complete their development, their project, they will inform us to terminate, to reduce the costing, right? So here, if you check this delete on termination, when you terminate any server, along with the server, this volume also will be terminated, right? So for example, project team gave you server to terminate. Okay, when they confirm us to terminate, we need to raise some change request and we need to terminate the server. So by the time this should be unchecked, because data will be available inside of the volume. That volume we need to reuse. We need to protect the data, right? So if you check this along with this server, this volume also will be terminated. Okay, so always we need to uncheck this. For now, I'm checking this. So if you want to encrypt your data, which is available inside of the volume, you can encrypt using this encryption. Okay, so next, go next here, add tags. Tags is for our understanding, name, tag name. So from like, we can give some web server or something, web server. So next one is configure security group. What is this? Click on this So if you want to connect any Linux server, okay, how can we connect Linux server? Through SSH authentication, right? So SSH port is 22 port. This should be enabled. So yeah, if you are not enable this port, you can't connect your Linux instance. Okay, by default this will be enabled. So if you open partition, by default 22 port will be open. This is the 22 port, right? The same way we need to enable 22 port here. Next one is here source custom. Custom means custom IP. From custom resources you can access your server. Custom means for example, custom network you can access this instance. So if you select here anywhere, from anywhere you can access this instance which we are creating instance. Okay, so from my IP means from your dedicated IP you can access your cloud server. Okay, so for now I give anywhere. Yeah, now here it is showing create a new security group or select existing security group. Okay, so this security group need to be created. If you want to connect your Linux server or Windows server, one security group is required. In that port will be enabled. That port will be allowed some traffic inside traffic. Okay, so here if you want to create new security group, you can select new, or else you can select existing one. Already I'm having some existing security groups. Anyone you can select. Okay, for now we can create new security group. Yeah, you can give name here. So description also you can give same. Okay, review and launch. Click on review and launch. So you can check.
Here,
You can read.
just a quick question.
Yeah.
Does the security group have any relation with the tendency that you picked in the earlier tabs?
Can you come again? Security group?
Does security group have any relation with the tendency that you pick in the earlier tabs? Because you pick a tendency where you are trying to isolate the instance, right?
Yeah, correct.
So
Correct.
does it have any impact? Because if you are isolating your instance completely from anyone to access it, then is there any
No.
specific reason why we are going to have additional security on this instance? Because
Security group means one port should be enabled to connect our instance. Okay, so tenancy means, so it is a isolation. You have dedicated space. When you select dedicated space, dedicated one, you will get isolated space. Security group to connect our instance, this should be enabled. Port number, port should be enabled.
Like a server address, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So now these are the details. You can review this and you can click on launch instance. Yeah. Now one more important thing here, which is key pair. Okay. So what is key pair? So if you want to connect your Linux server or Windows server, you require one key. Every Linux mission or every cloud mission, mission means instance. Every instance will have one key. So that key we need to generate here, or else existing key also you can use. Okay, so here choose an existing key pair. This is existing key pair, or else you can create new key pair. Okay, or else you can use proceed without key pair also. But in real time we require key. Without key we can't proceed. Yeah, create new key pair. I gave the same name here. So we need to download this key pair. First time we need to download this key pair. Download key pair. Click on download. Yeah, key pair is downloaded. Now we can launch instance. Click on launch instance. Right? So this instance is launched. Now it is being ready. The instance is launching. This is our instance. Yeah, now it is in running state. Fine. So yeah, we created instance. How to connect this instance? We'll try to understand. Okay, fine. So this is our instance. So we have one key pair here, which is downloaded. So if you open this key pair, this is the key. So this much of key, anyone can hack. Is it possible to hack? No one can hack, right? So this level of security AWS is providing, right? So yeah, this key which we downloaded, which is, I'll show you. Yeah. So we downloaded one key which is .pem file, .pem format. Okay. So .pem means this is a normal key. Okay, some text kind of file, right? So using this key, using this .pem file, we can't connect our instance. Okay, so we need to convert this .pem file into PPK format. PPK means putty private key. So we need to convert this PEM into PPK. Then only we'll able to connect our instance. Okay, so for which we required some tool which is PuttyGen. Okay, so to connect our instance, we required putty session. So to convert this PEM file to PPK, we required PuttyGen. Okay, so we need to convert this, for which what we will do, we'll see that. First, we need to how to download putty session. I'll show you. Then PuttyGen also will be downloaded when we download putty. So by the time PuttyGen also will be downloaded. Using PuttyGen, we can convert this PEM file into PPK file. This is small process. This is first time we'll perform. Okay. Next time onwards, no need to perform. So we need to understand this. This is very important. Okay. So how to download putty session? We'll try to understand here. So download putty for Windows. Click on this. Yeah. Select download putty here. So click on first URL. It will be, yeah, it will ask you. So 64-bit or 32-bit, accordingly, you can click on this. It will be downloaded. It is a small exe file. You can download this. And once it is downloaded, you can click next, next, next. Open that file, click on that, next, next, next. It will be installed. It is a small file. So once you install this, it will be open like this. Okay. So to connect our Linux server. To connect Linux server, we use putty session. So when we download install putty here, along with the putty session, one tool will be installed, which is PuttyGen. Okay, that is required to convert our PEM file into PPK file. Okay, so here, if you search here, go search here, type here putty. So it is showing PuttyGen. Putty is available, PuttyGen also available. So open PuttyGen. Yeah. So here I want to convert my PEM file into PPK file to connect Linux server, right? So here click on load. So where we downloaded our PEM, yeah, PEM file in downloads, right? So select all files here. This is our PEM file. We need to select this file. Double click on it. Okay. Right. Next, save private key. Click on save private key. Yes, where you want to save. On desktop, I want to save. Okay. So here we need to give the name. The same name I'm giving. Okay. So which we created security group, the same name I'm giving here. So save. Click on save. On desktop, I'm saving. Click on save. Close. So the PPK file is saved in my desktop. Somewhere I saved this. 7 AM. This one. So
Ram,
there is a
sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, what is the abbreviation for PEM? PEM, what is the meaning of the PEM?
Yeah, that is normal text file.
Okay.
PEM means PPK means putty private key. Okay, PEM there is no full form. Normal that is text one. Okay, so PPK means putty private key. That we need to download. When we convert into PPK, it will show you like some yeah, like this. It will show you hat symbol, right? using this PPK, we need to connect our instance. Okay.
And one more thing, Ram. Actually, do you have any other tools like this? We can do the same thing, but with, I mean, except putty, the key generation and converting the key into the PPK, or only we need to use the putty in the real-time environment.
Yeah, real time normally we use putty only. So we use putty only. Putty is better one. We can use other tools also, but those are not properly performance wise. Sometimes it is automatically closed. Some issues are there. Putty is a permanent one. You can use putty session to connect our Linux servers. Putty is better one.
Okay, sure. Thank
you. Okay, fine. So now, once we generate this, next one is how to connect our instance. We'll try to understand. Okay. So now go to console. So this is our instance, right? So select instance, click on this. So this is my, so every server, every Linux, every cloud instance will have 2 IP addresses. Okay. So normally in physical servers or virtual servers, how many IPs will be there? One IP, which is network IP, right? So even laptop also will have one IP, right? But here in cloud we have 2 IPs. Every instance will have 2 IP addresses. One is public IP, another one is private IP. So public IP, to connect our instance, we use public IP. Once we connect the instance, we'll get this private IP. This is static IP. This is dynamic IP. Static means it is a permanent IP. Dynamic means it will be changed dynamically. Every time when you restart your instance, it will be changed. Got it, right? So whenever we connect public IP, that IP is dynamic IP. Dynamic IP means backend there will be a DHCP server. DHCP server means dynamic host configuration protocol. So we'll discuss this later. Okay, don't worry. So dynamic host configuration protocol, one server will be there backend. When we stop our instance, this IP will be taken back by DHCP server. Whenever we start our instance, again DHCP server will give new IP. So this public IP always change. Okay, but in real time we don't use public IPs. We use elastic IPs. Elastic IPs, we have one concept. We'll discuss that. What is elastic IP? Elastic IP means it is a permanent IP, static IP. It will not change. It never change until you terminate your server. Because in real time production servers, if you use public IP, every time it will change whenever you reboot your server. So that is why teams, development teams and testing team, they will confuse what is the server IP. That is why client asks you to assign elastic IPs. So in real time, we need to assign elastic IPs. How to assign elastic IP? What is elastic IP? Where we get that? We'll see. Okay, tomorrow or day after, we'll see that. Okay, fine. So here to connect our instance, so this is the IP, public IP. So copy public IP, click on this, it will be copied. Okay, copied. Now open PuTTY session here, paste IP here. Okay, go to SSH authentication, click on authentication, click on browse. Okay, now you can select our PPK file. Okay, so this is our PPK file. Select, open. Now it is asking. First time it will give you this alert. Click on yes. Yeah. So Amazon Linux mission, Amazon Linux EC2 instance, by default, one user is there. Your default user, which is EC2-user. For Ubuntu server, we have different user, which is Ubuntu. By default, they provide user. For CentOS, default user is CentOS. Okay, this is our Amazon Linux instance. So here we use EC2-user. Enter here. Now I'm able to log in into the instance. If you want to increase font size here, go to, so click on this and go to change settings, appearance, change, bold, 14 or 13, whatever size you want to give, you can give apply. Like this, you can connect, and once we configure the server, this server we can hand over to project teams, development team in real time normally. So we create server instance and hand over to project team. Okay, in real time we do that. Any questions up to here? Any doubts? So this is first session, right? EC2. That is why one by one will go. But creating instance, it will not take much time. It will take 30 seconds only. So very simple. Okay. But first time we are going through all the options, right? All the things, important things. So this PPK file conversion. Any questions? Any doubts? Can I show you again? So online, is it clear to you?
Yes, Ram. Ram, can you please go to the screen of IP? I mean, public key and private. Private address, private IP and public IP. That page. There are some other tabs like security, status. I mean, yeah. These are.
We'll
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So here we have details. So when we select our instance, okay, here we have some details. It is like public IP, private IP, and DNS address, private DNS address. Okay, domain name system. DNS means domain name system. Okay, so here VPC, default VPC, subnet name. So like this, some options are there. Okay, and security. Next one is security. Click on the security.
Ram, is there any timeout time for this Amazon?
Yeah, sometimes it will time out. So again, we need to log in. Nothing will be happening when we re-log in. Servers will be available.
Okay. So is there? I mean, generally there is no timeout for this, right?
Yeah.
Because some of the applications will time out after 60 minutes, something like that. We have in the real time, right? So it is not like that, right?
Yeah, in real time normally it will not. Nothing will be happened. But here, our filter eligible, right? These are servers. Sometimes it will time out session. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So now, this is our server, web server. We are seeing some options, right? So someone asking some question, how to open in PuTTY also. Okay, I'll show you again. Fine. So here, second tab is security. Okay, security means our port number. Security group created, right? One port is enabled here. So TCP port enabled. So without this port, we can't connect our Linux instance. Okay. So this is security group, which we created, security group name. Source anywhere we selected, right? So this is security. And next one is networking. So networking means VPC. Here network interface is available. So instance ID, okay, elastic IP is not available. So we'll see that. So here VPC is there, default VPC. So this is networking. Next one is storage. Whatever storage we created, that will be available. So this is the storage 8 GB we created here. Okay. So we attach to our instance. This is the volume ID we have attached to our instance. Next one is status checks. Okay, monitoring, tags. These are the simple things. Okay, so we'll see this again. One more. Whenever we create different ways, we'll try. We'll create a number of instances. Day by day, every day, we'll create a number of instances. Like for example, if you want to create VPC, by the time also we'll create 2 or 3 instances and we'll check it out. Okay, so and next one is. So PPK file conversion, I'll show you once again. Okay, so here, So this question I could not understand. Surya, you asking some question, right? How to open in PuTTY How to open in PuTTY means like server, right? Server, how to connect in PuTTY, right? You are asking. Yeah. So how to convert PPK file from PEM file to PPK? I'll show you once again. So this is a .pem file which we downloaded from the instance, right? So if you, yeah, I'll show you now. I'm showing now. Yeah. Fine. So this is our PEM file. So I want to convert this PEM file into PPK file. Okay. So for which we need to open PuttyGen. So where we get this PuttyGen? When we install PuTTY here, along with PuTTY, it will be installed, PuttyGen. So we need to search PuttyGen and we need to open this PuttyGen. So once we open this, click on load and select your PEM file, where we downloaded that PEM file. So go to downloads, select all files. This is our PEM file. Select this PEM file. Okay. Save private key. Yes. Where you want to save this? On desktop, you can save. Okay. You can give the name here and save. You can give the name, give the desktop, save. It will be saved. Once it is saved, it will come add symbol. Okay. Fine. So how to connect using PPK? So he's asking, Surya is asking. So how to connect in PuTTY session? How to connect server using PPK? So we'll try to understand. So yeah, first we need to take public IP. So this is the web server. Select your server and go to details here. Copy public IP. Okay. So open partition, paste here public IP. Go to SSH authentication, browse, and select your PPK file. This is your PPK file. Select open. Right? So default user is EC2-user. You can give this. Now we are able to connect our instance. Right? So someone asking the question, which is, yeah, can you tell how PEM file is generated? So while creating instance, we need to download the PEM file. Okay. So while creating instance, for example, we are launching on instance here. Click on launch, select, next configure details, add storage, add tags, okay, configure security group. So security group existing also can select any security group, okay, review and launch instance. While launching instance, it will show you, it will ask you, if you create new key pair, if you select new key pair, it will show you download key pair. From here, you need to download the PEM file, key pair. Got it right? Banu Prakash. How to get the PEM file? Fine. Any more questions, anyone? Till now? So tomorrow we'll create Windows Server. Okay. How to create Windows Server, how to connect Windows Server, how to create one user in Windows Server. So we'll try to understand. Okay.
So Ram, so I mean tomorrow once we create Windows Server, so can we see the folder structure just like we see in our local machine? I'm talking inside the server.
Yeah, we can see, we can check, we can go to C drive in Windows Server. We can check folders, whatever folders you want.
Okay, I was asking because this is the first time I'm seeing some Linux server, so I don't know how we can use Linux machines. So
yeah. That is why tomorrow Windows Server also Windows Server will create, and how to connect Windows Server and how to create user in Windows Server using user, how to connect Windows Server. So we'll try to understand. Okay, so up to here you can practice, but every day we'll create different instances. Okay, don't worry. First time little confusion will be there. So next time onwards, from after 3-4 sessions, you will understand better. Okay, first time conversion, PPK conversion, and connect instance and create instance. You will think like you will have more steps, but later on you will create very quickly. Okay, so yeah, every in previous batches also we face the same things. Okay, same. So there are more steps. It used to say more steps, right? But when we started working on these instances, it will be very easier to configure, create instances. Okay, so you can, so still, yeah, if you not yet create account, you can create today itself. Right? Okay, so yeah, something came in my mind. Yeah, so if you not created an account, create today itself. Otherwise, day by day we are increasing servers and services, right? So by the time you'll be confused. So if you create today itself, from tomorrow onwards you can work on this parallelly. So you will get some whatever services we are using, whatever servers are creating parallelly, you can create and you can practice. So some people are facing some issue, right? Card issue. You are facing some card issue. So you can change your card today. Otherwise, it will not be successful account. Any challenges to create account? Anyone? Still anyone facing any issues? Online games? Yeah. So today you can practice this, and tomorrow we'll work on Windows instance, how to create instance. Okay. So that is also very important in real time. So we need, as a DevOps engineer, we need to create infrastructure, servers, network, storage. We need to provide infrastructure to development team, right?
So shall I ask the doubt?
Yeah, please.
So coming to the real-time environment, while we are creating any instances, so before that they are going to, I think they are supposed to give the KT, right? I mean, how we are going to create, what we are going to mention there, what type of IP we are going to assign there, like that.
Every, yeah, when you join the project, you will get to some KT. So infrastructure KT, how to create instance, they will not tell. Okay. So how to create instance, we need to know. So what is the naming convention we need to give? What are the IPs we need to assign? Okay. So what are the what is the network we have? What is the network we need to assign? That they will tell. But how to create instance, they will not tell. We need to know the steps, how to create instance.
Ram, one small note. While installing the Putty, is there any version to specific version or to install?
The latest version you can take. Whatever latest version is available, that you can take.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions, anyone? Yeah, you can practice this, how to create a Linux instance, how to connect instance, how to download PAM file, how to convert PAM file. Okay. So tomorrow we work on Windows 7. Fine. So we stop here.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah, we can change the default username. We'll see. I'll show you tomorrow how to change the username. We'll see that. Okay. So in Linux also we'll learn that how to create new user in Linux server, how to connect using new user. We'll see in Linux also. Okay. Fine. So we stop here for today. Thank you all.